I thought the alpha wolf had a particular set of skills. So, and I was waiting for those guys.
One, George.
I was waiting for those guys to start eating each other.
Wrong movie.
movie.
The
Right.
wolves or the people?
The people.
Oh, okay.
So.
Hello.
Hello. Welcome to this episode of What the Flicks podcast. This would be episode number 73. Ooh.
Part one.
Part one. Okay, so the movies that we're going to be looking at. Oh, my name is Susan Ayers.
I'm Patty Smith.
Adelan Shima.
Jorge Sanchez.
Bob Nick Shields.
Yes, there you go. So the movies that we're going to be looking at in this episode are The Grey, No Hard Feelings, Mr. Holmes, Wicked Little Letters, and Burning. So I think we'll start with you, Patty.
Okie doke. My movie is The Grey. It stars Liam Neeson. So it's basically a survival story with a message type thing. He works as a
Being
Liam, Mr. Liam.
Mr. Liam, to you.
After a 5-week grueling shift, Liam and a bunch of other guys take off in a plane to go to their day offs. The plane crashes, and there starts the episode of survival. Before the plane crashes, you see that he's contemplating suicide. And by sheer, luck, he doesn't do it. So when the plane crashes, and it looks so cold because the special effects or whatever were so good. There's about, 8 men and himself start trekking and trying to survive. The thing that really holds them back is, and none of this is true to wolf nature, as they say in the movie, or about the movie, none of the wolves would normally act this way. And they made a point of saying it's fictional. Is a group of wolves are after them. And Liam Neeson thinks it's because they're near the den, but actually they're starving and they just want to eat something. And one by one, the men die off from one thing or another. But you really get a sense of comradeship between the men, how they get tight, because they're really tough guys, oil guys, and you see them kind of bond together really quick because they have to. With Liam Neeson, it keeps showing flashbacks to when he's lying in bed with his wife and there's like a sheet over them. So you don't really understand what that is, but she keeps saying to him, don't be afraid, don't be afraid. And you can tell they're very much in love. And at the end, you find out what's happening there. But the end part is the alpha wolf and Liam Neeson get together, as I call it, for a showdown. And I just thought Liam Neeson in this was so believable. When he makes that speech about when he's fighting with God about what else are you going to throw at me? And of course, God throws something else at him. So this is one of my favorite movies. I like it a lot.
Wow, yeah. This was an odd movie for me because
Really?
only because when we watched that Society of the Snow, remember, it's like,
Right.
oh my
Yeah.
God, I'm going to watch another one of these movies. Well, that was nothing compared to what these guys are
That's
going to do,
true, yeah.
because you're right. It wasn't so much, because at first it's like, oh, it's a plane crash survival movie.
Right.
Oh, they're in Alaskan, the coldest time of the year, blah, blah,
Right.
blah. Then it's like, oh, but it's coming down to the wolves.
Right.
That was their biggest hurdle, basically, to get through. So I didn't know what to make of this. I think you're right, though. I can't fault the actors. I thought it moves along briskly enough. I just was, no pun intended, it really did sort of leave me cold. I'm watching this like, I didn't really care enough for these guys, right? So it's like, and they're good at, in fact, I was telling Bob earlier, it's like, I watched it and I saw Dermot Mulroney's name in the credits.
I
I didn't even
recognize
see, I didn't
I
either.
didn't know that
So
was him
I
either.
literally watched it again today.
Right.
It's like, just to make sure. It's like, and once I saw it, I said, oh, there he is. See, now I knew to
Me
look
too,
for him.
right.
That's like, oh, now it's obvious it was him, right?
Right.
But that really surprised me. So, but that Ben Hernandez guy, there
Yeah.
were good performances all around, I think, with everyone involved.
Right.
I happen to think the cinematographer did a great job. He was a Japanese one. He actually
Yeah.
did Silver Linings Playbook
Yeah.
the next
Yeah.
year. So it's sort of funny. What is his name? That Masanobu Takayanagi.
Well, it's easy for you to say.
It looked good. I think the writers did a good. I just thought you're right. I think Liam Neeson really is the one who carries the movie
Oh, yeah.
because he's sort of the brains. He knows the animal behavior of nature.
Right.
So he's the one trying to explain to everyone to get a grip, basically.
Right.
Which it does. His leadership comes into effect because he knows so much and that he's predicting what's happening, and
Yeah.
then finally everyone falls into step, singing, "Okay, what do we need to do to survive?" So it's that kind of movie, but it's I don't know. It was sort of brutal. It was like how would I put it?
Brutal was a good word.
Well,
Yeah,
it's
and
just
I'd take the sort of out.
it's just that because it wasn't grotesque in his brutality.
No.
Thankfully, it wasn't gory. I don't have to watch
Right.
lots of blood and stuff. So, but the thing was, it's like you're watching this and then it's thinking, as it goes along, it's like, okay, this is not going to be a happy movie, obviously. So that's the problem I have, because even there were some fun moments in it too. I mean, there's a sequence in which which I thought was so smart, where they're all going to try and fly into trees, basically. And I thought, oh, that's a good idea, because the trees are high enough and they can usually grab onto something.
Wasn't a good idea.
But some things happen. So, and they create a nice little drama, but some fun stuff. But it was the characters and their attitudes that made me laugh most of the time, because I thought, what would I do in that situation? It's like, I would be the one that's like, no, we can't leave the plane. People are going to come look. The plane's the best place to be. I'm not going to leave it.
It makes
and
you-
I'd be one of those people.
It makes you ask yourself, would I be the person who leaves the plane or stays in the plane?
Exactly. And yet Liam Neeson being like I said, the hunter and everything that he knows, I thought, would I follow him? And it's like, no, I know I wouldn't. I would be too afraid, and I'd probably be one of the first victims that was probably found.
I was gonna
But
say,
I figure at least they got all the other people to eat, because there were a lot of men on that plane, and like you said, only about 8 survivors.
Right.
So that's the one thing.
and
but-
watching the personalities of each tough guy break down, that was nice.
And I did like the fact that Liam Neeson sets it up very up at the beginning, I think in the opening monologue, about these are like the worst of humanity kind of thing, that these are tough, rough men
Right.
who are like antisocial. They only follow their own rules, but that's the kind of workers you need
Right.
to do this type of job. So, but yeah, I did watch it the second time, because I think I watched it for the first half hour and I thought, okay, I got to turn it off because I don't know where it's going. And then I watched it, like I said, today I was watching it. It's like, okay. And then it's like I sat through the whole thing. So
Right.
it tells you, and knowing sort of what happens. So,
Yeah, I actually enjoyed it. I like Liam Neeson. He's doesn't matter what movie you throw him in, he's gonna be Liam Neeson, so it's gonna be good. And I'm a big fan of Frank Grillo too, and I was happy to see him in there.
Who's that
No,
guy?
Frank Grillo, The Purge.
The Purge, that is the guy.
Ever since the second Purge Anarchy, I'm a big fan
And
of him.
in Infinity War, he's part with
right.
Oh yeah, he's like
He's the anti-Captain-
Deathstroke or something like that.
what is he? He's
I don't know, like Deathstroke. That's the character's name, I think.
And he's in
Well, there's that.
in
They're
the-
Lay the Favorite.
the favorite, right? He's one of the-
really? I didn't-
So, and he also did a movie in, we can cipher about it, I think maybe on Hulu, where it's one of those movies where he gets killed and he comes back to life. And he gets, I think it's called Final Boss or something like that. Boss Level?
Boss Level.
Boss
Oh.
Level.
Same director.
I haven't seen it, but...
Same director.
Oh, really?
Is terrific.
Oh,
Yeah.
really? Oh.
As is Copland.
Oh, really?
Great movie, Copland.
So, yeah, the movie had great...
No,
cinema-
not the Sylvester Stallone one.
Oh, different one. Oh. It's so yeah, the cinematography was great. I thought
Cop Shop.
I thought the alpha wolf had a particular set of skills. So, and I was waiting for those
Good
guys.
one, George.
I was waiting for those guys to start eating each other.
Wrong
wait,
movie.
right,
Wrong
wrong
movie.
The
Right.
wolves or the people?
The people.
Oh, okay.
So, but it was pretty clever too that to put that the roughest and toughest guys are there to do those kind of jobs pitted against wolves. Now I did have a, obviously, but they might say that too that they gave wolves behavior that I didn't think they had.
Yeah, they did.
And also, I don't like movies. I like wolves, so I don't like movies about wolves getting shot or messed up. Why couldn't there be bears? It would have been quicker. You could get in a tree with a bear. So the what else did I say? So yeah, I like the cast. Really colorful cast. Anyways, but yes, he showed that what we're saying about tough, really tough guys, the toughest guys. But how it doesn't matter when it comes to nature, you could be the toughest guy. It's just like nature just kicks your butt. Like the other movie, Society of the Snow, that was just nature alone without the animals. This one is added wolves on top of it. But yeah, we really just food for everything.
For everybody.
We just so. But yeah, I enjoyed it.
Listening to what you guys are saying makes me like the movie even better because I'm seeing things in it I hadn't before. For instance, when you're talking about like the scenes with him on the bed with the sheet over him, that's setting it up that he's the spirit guide. He's the gray.
He's the gray, yeah.
He's the gray. He's the spirit guide who's leading them on a spiritual path, not a physical path.
And Wolf is death. Always following.
Well, Wolf is nature. Wolf is the reality of nature, the harshness of nature, and they're in that situation. But there's a reason they're in that situation. And to me, I think I had seen this movie before because I kind of remembered the ending. I wasn't aware of Frank Grillo and how much I liked him the first time I saw it because he's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
That guy is just great. That guy is so great. And I just I followed this one. I still. As I was watching it, I wasn't all that gripped by it necessarily, but now I'm seeing so many different aspects that I missed by listening here instead of talking, which I usually do. But it's a very good movie. The acting is flawless. I spotted Dermot Mulroney early on, and I said,
Really?
"Is that Dermot Mulroney?"
I didn't recognize
didn't
him.
recognize him
I
at
don't
all.
remember him being in the movie, but he sure looks like Dermot Mulroney, but he looks a little older or something like that. And then I said, no, I'm pretty sure that's Dermot Mulroney. And sure enough, I was right at the end of the movie.
When I was writing my thing up, and it said his name, I was like, he wasn't in the movie. And then I had to go back and look.
Yeah. Well, I thought everybody did a great job
Yeah.
in it. And I just, in terms of what it did, it was like, okay. I mean, I sort of remember, I think I was mixing it up with the Sands of the Kalahari, where at the end of the movie, he fights the chimp or whatever it is for survival, to see who's going to rule the desert.
Yeah.
But this one was much better. This was just much better. And Joe Carnahan, the director, Joe Carnahan, the director, did, there was like one real prestige movie he had done before this.
Ooh.
And then he did, like, as George had mentioned, he did Boss Level, which is also with Frank Grillo, and a movie called Cop Shop, which is Frank Grillo, Gerard Butler, and Toby Huss. And that's
Never heard of these.
Yeah.
Tough guys.
They didn't get
Where's
released.
that?
I think they didn't get released, but Boss Level is a riot. That's a really funny movie.
Oh, I guess he did things like Smoking Aces and the A-Team.
Smoking Aces, right? And
And
the
the
A-Team. That's
A-Team.
right, the A-Team.
Yeah.
If I'd read that, I wouldn't have picked that movie because I don't like those movies.
Well, I don't that either, but the A-Team had Charlton Copley in it, and he was so good. Because the guy who played that part on television didn't cut it to me. I thought.
Oh, this is the movie part. Oh,
Yeah, the movie
Wow.
of the A-Team with Liam Neeson,
Yeah.
Liam Neeson's in it?
Yeah.
He played
George Papard
George
role.
Papard's
Is this like
character.
the Expendables but different?
I love it when a plank
No,
comes together.
it's a TV. It's a movie version of the TV
Oh.
show, but it's just like with some really good actors in it.
Let me ask you: does everybody think that it was going to have a bad ending right away?
No.
I didn't think it was gonna
I actually
I
did
don't
not
know
know
that
what
it
to
had
do.
a bad ending.
Unfortunately, Bob told me how it ended, so it's like, oh.
I thought he said he'd seen it before.
I told him I just watched the first half hour. And
Is that a spoiler?
So he told me, then he told me the ending.
So be
He's like,
That's a
careful.
good ending.
Be specific when you tell me something.
Yeah, right.
Anyway,
So-
Did you watch the
Oh,
post?
okay.
Did you
Go
guys
ahead.
watch the post-scene credits? The post-credit scene, like a Marvel.
Yeah, remember
There's
that.
post-credit scenes in the movie.
Oh, of the gray.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, I didn't
In
know
the
that.
Oh,
post-credit-
you mean when they walk
oh
away?
yeah.
And the post-credit scene is the ending.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
I just call that the ending.
Yeah, it's about 10 seconds. So
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
But
Well, you have to
it
go
tells you
through
what
all
happens
those
in the
credits.
post-credits.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Well, what do you think fast forwards for?
Well, I didn't know it was going to be there. It was a,
I think I did. I think
I
I
didn't think
see
I
it the
made it
first time
past the
around.
credits, so I just turned it
I
off.
was like, great, it's
after
great.
that.
When does Spider-Man come up?
Yeah. I do that from watching Marvel.
Okay, so
Okay. So this movie you're talking about with the spiritual and the death and that missed it, right?
I did too.
I felt that Liam Neeson did a decent job, and it was kind of funny to me. It was like a B movie, but it was kind of like he was doing Shakespeare in the middle of this B movie. I mean, it was because he's a very good actor, and he was like he was like going for it.
Yeah, Frank, the wolf has been taken.
I think a lot of movies he does lately, all those this type of action adventure are B movies. But you're right, he does elevate
Oh, yeah.
all the
Yeah.
time. He takes it to a
Yeah.
nice
Even
Nice
those
level.
Taken, which are
he's-
corny as shit.
He's an Oscar winner.
I love them.
Well,
I thought-
and it's weird to me because early on, I always thought this guy's a very overrated actor. I mean, he's got a presence and all that, but in Excalibur and things like that. I mean,
Right.
he's okay, but I think he's gotten to be really good.
Well, that's
Yeah.
when he was younger. That's I mean, now 20 years later, it's like
Yeah,
he's,
when he was younger, I was
he's
not
just
impressed.
playing that role to perfection.
Well, he's
Well,
also.
I'll tell you who was impressed when he did Excalibur was Helen Mirren because she went
She
after
was
him.
good.
But I think that he was a Shakespearean actor,
Yeah.
Liam
He
Neeson.
was.
Like what's his name? Star Trek.
Shatner?
William Shatner.
Picard, no,
Yes.
what's his name?
And he's
Patrick
also-
Stewart.
No, William
Patrick
Shatner.
Stewart.
Yeah, and so when
Oh.
they're even in a movie, they're always doing Shakespeare. You know, like they kind of overdo the parts, but
That's
it's-
how they've been trained.
It's okay.
What I notice about Shakespearean actors, they always have powerful voices.
Yes.
So when they talk
Well,
in
let's
movies,
leave some
they're
of that
powerful.
for Holmes, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, so unfortunately, for me, the film didn't decide what it was. It needed to be either an adventure survival film, or it needed to be a philosophical film.
Right.
But it was
You
Or
know
like
what I
a
mean?
journey of discovery of
It was
oneself.
both.
Right.
in one was in the other, which I thought was
Okay,
good.
I'll take your word for it because I missed that part.
We are going to
well,
sit
me
down
too.
and go through that movie
Yeah, I
reel
said-
by reel.
I didn't see that stuff until today, till we're talking about it. You know.
We're
Yeah,
so deep.
Yeah,
It's
so
about survival and the meaning of life.
Yeah, exactly.
it says that's what I say. I say if it was a deeply psychological film about the nature of death and survival, exactly what was the message? Are you going to be deep or exciting? You know what I mean? I was like, I couldn't figure out where also like to me,
What?
it's like, why did they all leave? They died anyways, right? They could have
What do
stayed.
you mean?
Spoiler alert.
In fact, that's what I said after. They could have stayed and
Because
died.
they had a journey to go on.
That's what I
Yeah,
say.
exactly.
Stay,
Because
stay
the
with the
chances
plane.
of
Stay with the
living are
plane.
better if you find
stay with the
help.
But
Didn't they see Society of the Snow? They could have just ate each other. The
Well,
desert
Society of the
would
Snow
fall.
hadn't been made yet.
But remember,
Yeah.
But no, it had.
no, but remember, you have to move
I
on
don't
to.
think so. This movie
Well,
goes back.
but the
19
story
This is
is
like 2000.
But no,
Yeah,
no, no.
but
But the story
1970
itself,
was the story of
itself was
the-
already.
oh, you're talking
gone,
about that
yes.
story.
Yeah,
Well, yeah,
exactly,
but then
yeah.
you got like Alive and all that shit.
Maybe
But-
they didn't like
Yeah.
that menu.
No, but
That's why they
remember-
moved on.
But-
Find them
And
McDonald's.
those guys were all
As soon
athletes.
as
They weren't
went over,
spiritual.
As soon as they
Yeah.
went over
necessarily.
that, they had to go over that ravine. That would have been the end for me, right? It was like, there's no way I'm going through that, right? It's like, there's no way I'm
There's a
doing
wolf
that.
But-
behind you. You would be.
No,
But remember
I
that-
wouldn't.
but remember, just like
I'll
society-
take my chances with the wolf.
Just like Society of the Snow, the reason you have to leave is because you need to survive. So you gotta travel to find safety. If you stay there, you're staying there to die.
Yeah.
Unless it gives you a chance of survival.
Well, maybe
Like
or maybe,
Society of
but
Snow, the people
I guess not.
He had to leave them on their journey. They all went through a journey that they needed to go on in
Well,
order to leave.
I
And
guess.
the movie was
Yeah.
about a journey. So it's
Yeah, I don't feel like I needed to participate in that journey, right? Plus, I
That's
had the
legitimate.
problem. Plus, I had the problem with the wolves too.
But they explained it. None of it was true about
So
wolf
use a
nature.
different
And
animal.
because the wolves were
You
mythical
know
wolves.
what's
And-
weird
Yes,
is for
they
some
were.
reason I kept thinking a Wolverines were going to show up because I always told those were like the worst animals to confront in nature,
yeah, but
right?
They're gonna be that big.
Yeah, tell it to the Russians before they invade Wisconsin.
Oh yeah, but no. But
But they're fierce.
exactly.
Oh,
That's
okay,
what I was
yeah.
told, that they will kill you.
They're like the
basically.
honey badger. Don't mess with those.
Exactly.
They're both little
It
guys.
doesn't look the same when wolves are chasing you than these little.
But
Exactly,
also,
yes.
but also, the wolves were very CGI. And
Our
they were-
apologies, folks, but we're having a good time.
And they were very CGI, and that was like they could have done a little better with the wolves. You know, they didn't.
That
look
I
like
don't
wolves.
disagree with, but
But it's also
You know?
the time period. You know.
Yeah, like I said, all the actors were great. I don't think they needed that great of actors for that.
Oh,
For that, you know, for the parts, they weren't that. You know,
but that's what
There
made
just
the movies
aren't
good.
that many great actors in the Wolf studio.
well, the wolves were.
They got
okay,
what they
actually.
could.
No, you were just criticizing the Wolves. Now you're backtracking.
Okay, so that I hate to be a bummer, but I really was kind of like, to me, it was this movie's been made a lot of times,
Of course, it's a
and
survival movie.
any of those deep parts I totally missed. So that was basically
See,
it.
and that's the
I
weird
missed him
part
too.
because that's the part that I got into.
Me
That's
too.
actually what sparked.
Are you sure that it isn't in your guys'
Only
head?
because, especially with
We are deep, man.
no, just especially with Liam Neeson's character.
I heard that.
Because that's the one thing I have to admit. Liam Neeson's character, you're right. That's why I think he is so good. I see him going through that.
Yeah,
You know.
and that thing to God.
Mhm.
It's a movie about deep tough guys.
Oh, yeah. Shall we
It's basically
vote?
Cujo. It's basically Cujo.
Yeah, but always in movies, tough guys are the most blubbering, emotional guys. I can't quite get, you know, that's always true. They're always so emotional.
Right. So
God
like,
forbid.
like what I call the Ted Lasso effect. Here are all these macho footballers, but every time they're watching rom-coms and they're all crying. You know?
and there's always a dead wife somewhere.
That's why it's one of the greatest
Exactly.
series ever on television.
I think so.
Okay,
I
so
like that.
that's my synopsis.
Lon,
So I give it a 5.
I knew you were going to say that.
I enjoyed it. I give it a 7.
I give it a 6.
I give it an 8.
Okay, so we'll be back. We'll be back next week.
Alrighty. For part B.
See you next
That was a
week.
good discussion.
But
though.
we will have washed our clothes in the